Welcome back to the Goals.com podcast, where we uncover what drives sales performance at the highest levels. Today, we're talking with a proven growth strategist who has built sales infrastructures that consistently deliver double-digit revenue increases. With over 2 decades leading high-performing teams across multiple industries, Jeff Gallop helps companies install strategy, structure, and discipline that drives results. From saving business owners over 12 hours a week to delivering 32% average sales growth in year one, Jeff knows how to build winning sales organizations. Jeff, thanks for being here today.
I appreciate the offer, Andrew.
Specialize in stepping in as an outsourced VP of Sales. What's the biggest misconception business owners have about sales leadership before you arrive?
Biggest misconception, Andrew, is that they can do it all. I think that's one of them. The end result is that sales become something that gets put on the back burner. And, the reality is without revenue growth, companies don't grow. I think, hats off to business leaders. They're trying to do it all. They need help, and they need somebody to steer the ship on the revenue side. One thing I'll also say is a lot of times, and I see this all the time, is business owners believe one answer is to promote their best salesperson to the position of sales manager or sales leader, and that generally is a recipe for disaster, because what you end up doing is taking your best salesperson off the street, and the salesperson gets put into that position with no training and no background, and it becomes troubling. So there probably is not as much attention to the sales department or the revenue line as there should be, and that's nobody's fault other than just trying to manage your business.
Yeah, I've seen that so many times where you have a strong salesperson who's really gifted at selling. They step into the sales leadership role and they're not as gifted in that role. And then actually it can be the opposite way around too. I mean, a lot of people can be not as gifted as a sales professional, but they are gifted on the sales leadership side. So I think that's great feedback. You've consistently delivered over 30% within the first year of engagement. What are the 2 or 3 core moves that almost every company thinks they're doing, but they're actually not?
That's a good question, Andrew. It's the one thing that companies think they're doing and they're not. Probably the most important thing is managing their pipeline and seeing where their business is. And I can tell you from every company I speak to that I come in and do an engagement with, that's one of the first things I'll ask is, what do you have in the pipeline? In every case, they are sort of a, oops, we're not there yet, or we don't quite have the answer. And in some cases, they'll think they do, and their sales teams will say, well, we're sort of flying out here in the wind. So I think the biggest misconception is that the salespeople feel they're on the same page as the owner, and that the salespeople kind of feel like they're on an island a little bit.
When you first evaluate a sales team or infrastructure, what are the top indicators you look for that tell you this organization is primed for growth?
I think, you look at the infrastructure in terms of how it's built, what their pipeline is, their structure in terms of the reporting, and their revenue, not only their revenue roadmap, but how realistic and how opportunistic is that revenue roadmap from the infrastructure side. Then from the people side, it's meeting one-on-one with the people and seeing what their attitudes are, seeing what some of the strengths and opportunities are, and try to help them get to the point where they can benefit. You take their strengths and utilize those and help them work on what they need help with. So I think there's a few things there.
I love that. Your process reportedly saves business owners up to 12 hours a week. Who wouldn't love an extra 12 hours a week? How do you get leaders to let go of control and trust the system?
That's a great question, Andrew. One of the things one of my colleagues told me when I first hooked up with Sales Acceleration, or one of the trainee/leaders, is she's been doing it a long time and she's very good at it and super smart. And she said, there are two criteria that I look for. One, I won't work with jerks, which none of us want to. And two, they have to really want it. To that degree, Andrew, what I tell my clients is, even though I'm a fractional sales leader, I want to be viewed as the revenue guy in your leadership team. I want to be viewed as the de facto VP of sales or chief revenue officer, just like your engineer, just like your HR, just like you are the CEO. If that can't be established, it's really tough to get to the next level. In most cases, because you're giving this owner or CEO or whomever the ability to get that extra time, and that extra time means a lot. It could mean maybe spending more time with their family, but it can also mean creating new opportunities for the company. So that's an easy sell if their head's in the right place.
Yeah, no doubt. You've led through crisis, for example, maintaining performance during a 15-month displacement after hurricane damage. What did that experience teach you about resilience in sales leadership?
Yeah, that's again another really big part of my life. We had Hurricane Katrina here in North Carolina and was running sales for a number of television stations that were literally flooded, and the buildings were completely destroyed by the hurricane. And we ended up moving our sales team to the local community college library, and that was a real challenge. It was a challenge beyond. It was a personal challenge because some of our people lost everything as well, and that was super tough. But the cool thing was, and it's this, sort of it deviates from the revenue side, but our whole team, the ones that weren't as affected, all rallied and helped out those who lost their homes and lost parts of their homes. And we worked as a team. And I think it may sound hokey or cliche, but if you can build a team and create teamwork, then everybody wants to move the ball forward. So in that respect, we were able to be super successful. We did a lot of things for the community, but we also kept moving forward. And even though we lost our building, lost a lot of days of productivity, we ended up, making our year because our people were all so focused. So I think it's about rallying the troops.
That is fantastic. In modern sales organizations, what role should AI and technology play? And where do leaders tend to overestimate or underestimate its value?
I actually do a number of seminars on AI and sales. And the one thing I lead with is that AI is a tool, it's not a solution. AI can be great for hiring people, for finding great people, for prospecting, finding solutions for clients, for presentation, all of the above. But it's not the end all be all. And if you think it's the end all be all, then you're kidding yourself because that human interaction still exists. I'll give you an example. I did a presentation for a local group of business leaders, and it was a topic chosen for me, not one that I chose, on customer service and sales. And most of my business is B2B, and customer service is obviously important, but it's not like B2C where you can go deep on it. So I will admit I created an outline, put it into my AI tool, and asked for a presentation on customer service and AI, and it gave me the bones for a presentation. It was great. However, there was not one slide in that presentation that I didn't have to change. There were not a bunch of personalizations that I needed to make, and I didn't want it to sound too AI. I think people tend to rely on it too much. That's where it can be a negative, but it certainly can save you a heck of a lot of time, and it can be a great resource for helping you get to where you want to be.
I definitely agree with you on both sides of the spectrum there. You've successfully driven both broadcast and digital revenue. What were the unique challenges of mentoring teams to sell something new?
People like to sell what they know and what they feel comfortable with. In the broadcast world, I was dealing primarily with broadcast salespeople, and they would lead with broadcast, and digital would be an afterthought. And as you know, Andrew, from your experience, digital is, not only where everything is now, but it has been for a while, and the digital being is much more measurable than broadcast and that sort of thing. I'm sort of going off, but getting people comfortable and training people in the proper way, doing role playing, just getting a level of comfort so your salespeople can feel comfortable going into a client and being able to explain new products and being able to feel they can answer the questions about those new products is essential. The other thing that's essential is to let them know that it's not a crime to say, "Hey, I don't know. Let me go back to my digital folks, my digital sales manager or my management team and get some answers and I'll get back to you on it." People much prefer trying to fake it till you make it. So I think just giving people a level of comfort with A, knowing the product, and B, knowing that they can have backup support if they need it.
No doubt. From your experience leading teams across industries, media, healthcare, hospitality, what elements of sales strategy remain universal regardless of industry?
Knowing what your customer's needs are, knowing your customer, period, and also viewing your product from the perspective of the customer, whether it's selling a commercial or selling a healthcare product or selling anything, you've got to view it from the customer's perspective and see what their needs are and be able to answer those needs. I think that's number one. Number two is contact after the sale and follow up and managing expectations and managing deals and making sure that you listen to the client when they're having success or when they're having issues. You're there for them and you're getting to them before they're getting to you, because when they get to you, if they have an issue, it's generally too late.
If you were starting from scratch with a sales team today, what would be the first three things you'd implement in the first 30 days?
A, I'd make sure that we had the right infrastructure in place. B, I'd make sure that my people were properly trained to get going. And I'd also try to create some level of teamwork so people know they could rely on each other, and also having my people believe in the product that we were selling. So that would be important. And then I think finally it would be identifying who are our low-hanging fruit, for lack of a better term, ideal customer profile, who they are and who would benefit most from the things that we were offering. And that would all be done in the form of a playbook where we could create a strategy, create all of these things, ICP and all of that, in a place where we could use as a resource and give us a guide. Finally, I would also create goals, 30-day goals, 60-day goals, 90-day goals, to make sure we're meeting those along the way.
Yeah, love that. You've built career success around helping others build revenue. What's one belief or philosophy that has most shaped the way you lead sales teams, and how has that evolved over time?
It has evolved over time. I mean, I've really learned that you treat people like you want to be treated, and that's, not, warm and fuzzy, but it's treating people with respect and giving people a chance to succeed, creating very specific benchmarks for their success. We're all on the same page. Obviously, it's in terms of revenue, in terms of making calls, in terms of product knowledge. All of that is essential. Regardless of what you're selling, your sales team needs to feel like you have their back and feel like they know the product, and also create goals that are a bit of a challenge, but they're still realistic, so they're attainable.
Yeah. All right, that's where we'll leave it. For powerful insights from someone who's not just talked sales growth, but delivered it time and time again. Jeff, thank you for sharing what it really takes to build structure, scale teams, and drive sustained revenue. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who leads a sales team or is building one. And if you're ready to level up your process, performance, and accountability, visit Goals.com to start building the system that top performers rely on. Until next time, keep pushing, keep leading, and keep hitting your goals. Jeff, thanks again for being here.
This episode is brought to you by Goals.com, the sales performance platform built to help teams stay focused, motivated, and on track. While most CRMs just track data, Goals.com drives real results. It's simple, affordable, and designed to help your sales team hit targets faster, without the headache of complex setup or costly consultants. Whether you're using a CRM or not, Goals.com works seamlessly to elevate your performance. Book a fun, fast demo today at Goals.com.